make your woman happy, she's going to make you happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because they want to make you happy.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about treating each other with respect and being open and being honest. And if you can't do that, you are going to fail at all relationships for your entire life.
Welcome back to Just Weirdly Blended. I'm Jesse.
I'm Tom. And with us today is my cell phone. Actually, my devilishly handsome cousin Brian.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's coming to us live from the other side of the state.
From the west side.
The west side.
West side?
Hey.
I know it's the best side.
West side's the best.
Yes, it is.
Right now it's the smoky side, but you know.
Usually it is, but I don't know. I'd rather stay here.
Snoop Dogg must be on that side.
All day. Product smoke. Going to the waterfront, it smells like weed all the time.
Yeah. Oh, I'll bet. It smells like that here too, though.
Oh yeah.
I'll go bike the waterfront and I come home, I'm high as fuck. Everyone's just hanging out like openly smoking. It's crazy. What we living today, though.
Why is Brian going on so many bike rides?
Well, I'll go for a run, and there's a certain house I pass that no matter what time it is, it seems to, smell very danky.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, and I find myself running towards their house. I'm like, wait, go home. I gotta go home.
How did I get here?
I'm knocking on the door like a creep.
Scratching your neck. Hey, man.
Man, you got any of that Grey Poupon?
I just need a hit, man.
Looking like Dave Chappelle on from the Chappelle Show. What was his name? Clayton
Bigsby.
No,
right?
not Clayton Bigsby.
Oh, no. What was his name?
Oh,
yeah.
you talking about the crackhead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Scratching his neck or whatever? I can't think what his name was.
Tyrone Biggums, right?
Yeah.
Tyrone Biggums. Well, kids, I'll suck a dick.
Right.
Everybody knows you can get on the bus and go down to 38th Street and find your own.
They're all writing down.
Kids are taking notes.
I love that one.
Oh, man. So,
I'm going to have to ask you guys this. I'm going to ask you guys not to talk too much over each other because I'm having a hard time understanding you guys.
Oh, we can't do that.
Yeah, we try, though. We'll do our best for you.
No, I totally get it because I talk over people all the time. I'll talk over you guys the whole time we do this.
We'll do what we can.
Okay.
Yeah, this is our first time actually using phone call in.
Yes.
And so we're going to see how it works, and we're going to try to tweak it.
I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. We'll do what we can.
See how he talked over me? See that?
No, I sang over you, motherfucker.
You sang over me.
Like an angel, by the way.
It was nice. Yeah, I will give you credit.
I even have my finger over my ear. That's how you know it's good.
So at least if you're going to do it, you better do it right.
Very angelic.
I wish we had you on a big TV screen in the back. That'd be great.
That would be fun. I'll just have to drop my ass out there one of these days. We'll just have to do it right now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, next time we should try the podcast. Not the podcast.
Right, I know what you mean.
The Zoom style.
The Zoom thing.
Because they had one through Riverside that we did.
But
that
means
came out pretty well.
Put a shirt on and look presentable. And
then you actually have to get out of bed and get dressed.
No shirt.
You can just lay down and just have the phone looking at you or something.
Just down low.
Can you put one hand behind your head while you talk to us?
Right.
I just want to get the full lazy fuck effect. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're a tiger.
Yeah. So what's up?
So aside from being smoky, how's everything else going?
It's going pretty good. The rain has set in, so that's probably good for the fires. Speaking of smoke.
Oh yeah, it's starting to rain over this side too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just changing quick. It was we were high 70s, and then all of a sudden one night I said, "Fuck it, I'm done." Winter's here, and it started raining, and now it's I think right now my TV says right now it's 39 degrees.
Oh wow.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Oh no,
it hit us about 2 days.
Life's gonna change. My outdoor lifestyle is gonna get a little bit rougher. That happens this time of year. It sucks, but it is what it is. A lot of the forest roads are closing down. I can't get into the mountains, so my hiking is a little more tricky. So I got to do more shit around the city, like bike rides, like I was just talking about, and stuff like that. But I mean, it is what it is. I'll make it through. I always do. I get a little cabin fever and a little depression come this time of year. So
Right.
That'll be fun to deal with.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's normal though, especially for people who like. I know for me, I'm a very active person, so when wintertime comes, it sucks.
Right.
Because I'm used to playing like sports, doing something. So I'm going to try to keep up with my walking just for that fact.
Yep.
Because I already work at home, and that drives me nuts already.
Oh yeah, you got to get out. Yeah, I mean, I was doing a lot of running, and then I think I was just pushing myself too hard, and I pulled something like in my thigh, and it's been bugging the shit out of me for like almost a month, to the point where I'm like about to go to the doctor and get it checked out. So I'm not doing any running currently, but I was running really hard for a while, but I hurt myself along the way. I'm old.
I hear you.
I get you.
I've done that 2 times.
but you and me talk about this, Tom. Like honestly, like walking or running, like you're pretty much burning the same calories. Like running is just you being hard on your body.
Right.
I mean, really.
And
like I'm not sure. I mean, running made me feel stronger, like maybe like confidence-wise. But like, you don't really need to run. You can just walk, and it's really the same shit.
Right. If you have a high enough pace that you're breathing hard and all that, that's really key.
I do find, I mean, running is harder on your joints and stuff because of the impact.
Oh,
Yep.
When I walk versus run, like my heart rate's that's the only difference is my heart rate.
Right.
Right.
But even then,
calorie wise, it's the same shit. Yeah.
I mean,
I did
my heart hit 200
I did some light trail riding, and that really got my heart rate up. Holy shit, man! Like trail riding, that's just hard.
Inclines and all that crap. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh my god! Like I was sweating like a hooker in church. Like I think I usually do like between, no bullshit, like 15 to 30 miles on my bike if I'm pounding pavement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did about 10 miles of trail riding, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
I'll bet.
Like, it's no bullshit. Like,
you got all those switchbacks and all that,
right?
That's probably like all the switchbacks when you trail, like ride a bike or even run. It's just those switchbacks and that elevation and
It's not just a steady flow. You can't really get in the rhythm.
You got to learn your gears and shit. Like when you're going uphill, you got to like drop your gears down.
Right.
It's a lot of know-how, really. Like it's more technical than you think it would be.
Well, to just maintain momentum is a difficult thing because, like you said, if your gear's wrong or if you've got too much tension, you try to pop the gear, then your chain drops, and
I've had my gear pop on me while I'm like half standing up, and I smack my knee into the bike. I'm like, my life.
Oh yeah, skin off your shin and all that. It's a good time.
I watched a video where a guy I think he was in a race and his chain came off when he was, I think, going downhill. And as he's going downhill, this guy's leaning over, fixing his bike.
Good Lord.
I'm like, dude, this guy's nuts.
Yeah. No.
I just feel like my finger will get caught and it's gone. It's lights
Seriously.
out.
Yeah. It was worth it to him.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't want to do any like serious trail riding. That's just, I don't know, man. I'm too old for. I don't bounce back the way I used to, man. I watch some videos where these guys are like falling off the sides of cliffs and shit, and they're latched onto the bike because they have those things on their pedals that like brace their feet in, so they're like stuck on the bike. Like that bike goes over, they're going over with it. I don't know about that shit, man. Like,
I don't either. I don't want to die.
Well, it's like a captain going down with this ship, though.
Yeah, true. It's like Titanic. I mean, you got to go out a hero.
Yeah.
Right?
Sorry, fellas. I'm going down with my bike.
I don't know. It's not for me at this day and age. I'm 44, and I don't know. It's really weird. Like this year, I turned 44 in September, and I know 44 is like a weird age to be like all dwelling on, but I've never been bothered by getting older. And for some reason, this year, like I'm feeling it. And I've got some pains in my joints, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like I'm constantly sore all the time, and I don't know what it is about 44, but fuck 44, I don't like it.
I hear you. I'll be 42 in a week, so I have pains and crap all the time. That's why I started like getting back into running and like losing weight, is because I was like waking up all achy and shit.
And as generic as it might fucking be to say, a body in motion stays in motion.
For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're sitting around not doing shit, man, it's terrible for your body. You got to keep moving.
Right.
Like I was out backpacking a couple months ago with a friend, and we got to our camp spot. We were probably like, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 miles in on the trail. We came to our camp spot, and this guy's like packing up his camp, like where we want to camp at. So we go down and we're talking to this guy, and this guy's obviously, he's an old dude. And we started chatting with him a little bit. This dude was 76 years old.
Wow.
And he had been out there for, I want to say he was on his 6th day. Like this dude was out just backpacking in the Olympics by himself, just getting after it, like just breaking camp. setting up a new camp, and it's kind of just bouncing around.
Yeah.
76 years old. I was like,
yeah,
dude,
fuck
like
a heart attack out here.
76, I think he's just waiting for a bear to eat him.
Right.
I'm looking for it.
Possible. Or he just hates his fucking wife. I mean, either way.
Yeah. She has dementia. She doesn't know where it is.
Either way, Jesus ain't real. I don't care anymore. But I'm saying, like, I shook the guy's hand. I was like, dude, I could only hope that in my mid to late 70s, I could only hope in my mid to late 50s.
Right.
I'm still out there, let alone my pushing 80. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This dude's just like.
And he was sleeping on the ground and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal for 70s.
Dude, I already have a hard time sleeping on the ground. My hardest part of backpacking is I don't sleep.
Right.
Because I got, when I have a top end nice, air pad and nice sleeping bag and whatever, it doesn't matter how much you try to fucking polish a turd, you're still on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm at an age where I struggle with that shit, man. Like, I don't sleep barely at all when I backpack. It's tough. But that's just part of it. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody sleeps like a baby on the ground.
Probably not.
No. Me and Tom went backpacking. We were backpacking for a quick minute. But we used a hammock tent, and that sucked too.
Well,
we had it wrong, obviously.
When you learn how to use it, I would like to try it again. But when you're just sitting like a crunched up accordion, that's not.
Yeah. I kept sliding.
I got a buddy who all he does is hammock camps. Like when we backpack, he's always in a hammock. Yeah. And that motherfucker be snoring like a bear. And I'm like, I just want to punch him. I just want to flip his hammock over and drop on the ground.
Yeah. Well,
it pisses me off.
We were laughing, thinking like, if a bear or even a cougar comes in here, they're just going to slap us once and tie us up in the damn thing. It's going to be hanging meat.
You're like a fucking soft taco just hanging from the tree.
Yeah. Right. Our spin, when they hit us, like you see in the cartoons, they spin around.
Right.
Fucking.
I had a chipmunk scare the shit out of me in the middle of the night. I almost grabbed my pistol. I was like, what the fuck? And then I look and it's this tiny chipmunk.
Alvin.
Yeah. Well, fuck you too.
I'm not going to lie. The idea of sleeping like openly like that, I don't know if I like it. And I've never struggled with like the wildlife on the the backcountry. It doesn't really bother me. Bears don't want nothing to do with this. I've had bears, encroach my camp and come in the middle of the night. Like, matter of fact, the same trip I took a couple months ago when I saw the old guy, there was actually a black bear. I woke up. I don't know, it was probably around 2 a.m. I shouldn't say I woke up. I was probably still awake. And I heard this, like, heavy breathing and shit. I could hear, like, kind of fumbling around. I'm like, what the fuck? So I unzipped my tent, like, really slow and quietly. We're kind of we were camping by a shelter. And we didn't sleep inside the shelter just because, well, A, we didn't feel the need to. It was pretty warm out still. And B, the mice love those shelters. And I hate fucking mice. Like, a bear in my camp doesn't bother me, but if I feel a mouse, like, go under my tent and move around, I'll scream like a woman. So
mice are nasty little creatures.
Dude, they are.
Oh, I fucking hate them, dude. We camped out in this cabin. This is a thru hiker's cabin up in the North Peak area. And it's just infested with mice. And we went out there, me and some buddies went there one time, and we did a little camp out. And I passed out. I drank like a whole bottle of Jameson, and I passed out on the floor of the cabin, just like on the floor.
It'll happen.
And I woke up with mice just crawling over my body, like just trailing over me, like, oh my God, I'm so gross.
Wow.
I jumped up like, fuck this, and like set my tent up inside of the cabin just to be inside of something because there was just mice everywhere.
Yeah.
But
wow.
Back to my original story, I wake up and I unzip the tent quietly as I'm not trying to startle anybody. And sure as shit, there's a black bear by the shelter. He was kind of sniffing around. We had nothing. We always hang our food in the trees. We do the proper food storage.
Yeah.
But I just hey beared him. I was like, hey bear, and he was fucking gone. Those bears don't want nothing.
We love hey bear.
I told Tom about hey bear.
That's my favorite. Just to yell it out in the middle of a hike.
We were walking through the woods over in Wenatchee area, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I just let out a hey bear. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I hadn't watched any of the television shows where they might holler a hey bear. I laughed.
You just don't want to startle them. There was actually, I was at Mom's house, and Mom lives in the 40s, so she has this like half-ass cable. She bought one of these like antenna things from Costco so she can get cable. I'm like, okay, like
she still has that, huh?
Okay, but
wow.
So she's got the news going last night at the house on her little 12-inch TV, which isn't. I mean, if it works for you, whatever.
Yeah.
But they were talking about there's somebody at Leavenworth in the Enchanter Park area who her and her dog got attacked by a black bear.
Ooh.
So I don't know if they startled the bear or if it was a mama bear protecting her cubs. But if that's not the case, as long as the bear knows you're there,
right.
you're not going to fucking see them because they're gone.
They really do not want anything
I've ridden
to
the
do with
black bear
us.
several times in the trail, and they don't want nothing to do with us.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Boy, I can tell you that would hurt like hell. I got bit by a dog. That was bad enough. A fucking bear.
Your arms.
Jesus. Fight back. Like,
I love my pets, but if I had to choose between me or my dog, thanks for risking your life for me.
Yeah, me or a bear?
Yeah.
No contest.
Sorry, Spot. Sorry, buddy. We had a good run, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
Hey, Fido, it's been a good run, boy.
I'm sorry, but
yeah. Wow.
That is what it is. The only thing I think about once in a blue moon that does it's unsettling, but it's very, very, very uncommon is cougar.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's my worry.
They're stealthy. You're not going to know they're there. And a pistol's going to do you no good because by the time you know it's there, it's on your jugular and you're done.
It's done.
So there's that.
A little rape whistle for a cougar. It's like
I actually backpack with a rape whistle. I really do.
I have one too. Actually,
you should.
I have one on mine within it rattles around and shit, so it's supposed to help. But
right.
Or you put a bell on yourself. That's the thing too.
I put a cowbell right around my neck.
Well, when we were backpacking, I have a metal coffee mug, and then I put some metal in there so it clanks around.
Right. Yeah.
And then I also seen this. I seen this thing on these guys that go backpacking, but they'll put things on the back of their like hats or the beanie, so it looks like they're looking behind them. So it kind of like throws off the cougar like someone's there. So when we were backpacking, I would have my sunglasses backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say never turn your back on a cat.
Right.
I've only had one encounter. I was doing a sunset hike to High Rock Lookout, and it was like I got to the trailhead and it was like just cars everywhere, and I was like, fuck that. I don't want to go up there. Like I don't want to hike in the mall.
Right.
I'm a mall walker. I don't want to do that. So there's a trailhead across from that trailhead that like no one goes to. I think it's called like Greenwood Lakes or some shit. No one goes out there. I couldn't find any info on WTA. I just hit the trail because I just wanted to hike and I didn't want to be bothered by people. And I got about a mile in and I got to this switchback and there was a good size cat was perched up on this rock and he was kind of just looking at me. Head was kind of tilted. And as soon as I saw him, like my heart just started racing like,
oh yeah.
Oh my God. Like I was so scared and I'm not easily scareable, but like this, I saw this cat and I was like, oh my God, like we're not doing this today.
Yeah.
And I just kind of started slowly backing up. I didn't turn my back on him. And my instinct, like your instinct says run.
Right.
It does. But you got to stay level headed and know that if you run, you're done.
Oh yeah. You're going to trigger them to go after you.
Sprint, you're lunch.
Do you have a house cat that you've ever been around?
Yeah, right.
House cats act the same fucking way. You turn your back on a house cat and run away. It's like, ooh, this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to bite the back of your ankle.
Yeah, I think you're going to hurt you.
Something I always told Tom, I think a laser pointer, man, I think that'll work.
I am so curious. I'm so curious what would happen if you took a laser pointer. Yeah. Would the cat just start pawing at it?
Like, just be so curious.
Shoot it off in the forest and it goes off after it?
Yeah.
But that isn't more
piss later. That would be a great YouTube video.
It'll probably be piss. Yeah.
Comes back and kills you on principle. Like, fuck you, dude. I know that was fake. And then you turn it on again.
But no, I think that would be scary, though. Like, because the cougar's obviously like, hey, I'm just letting you know that I let you see me.
The cougar's processing.
I could have jumped from a tree that you didn't know about and fucking...
Possibly. I don't know. He was just kind of perched up there, and I just started kind of backing away slowly, and I was trying to, like, control my heart rate because I feel like they could pick up on that shit.
Right.
So I was, like, trying to, like, calm myself down. At the same time, I was shitting my pants, so it was kind of tricky. I was trying to focus on both things.
Oh, yeah.
But I just kept...
not stepping in turns while I'm slowly backing away. Yeah.
Maybe the smell will throw them off.
Yeah.
Man, dude.
And I don't know how long I kept, like, I got to a point where I couldn't see him anymore. I was like, slowly, I didn't run out. I just started hiking out. I'm like, okay, that's it. Like, my hiking is over. I'm going home tonight. Like, I'm done.
Right.
But I kept looking back over my shoulder, and I was probably about a mile in. So think a mile of your heart beating out of your chest, like looking over your shoulder, like this waiting.
A good 15, 20-minute walk.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but it felt like an hour walk.
Yeah, I was going to say, with that heart going, like, shit.
Oh, my God. Like, that's the only time I've ever been spooked on the trail. I've run into a lot of situations, but like seeing that cat, it's the only time I've ever seen a cat. Like you just don't see them, you know. Right. But it was a very low traffic area, and that area is a high traffic area for cats, and I knew that. But you don't think you're going to see them until you've seen them. And
well, how easy would it be to not see it too? I mean, that's like crazy scary part.
Yeah. But it's so, I mean, it's, people always ask me if I carry, and I don't carry because a lot of those situations, you're not going to have time to
no, it's not going to do much for you.
Yeah, a lot of the time a cat is there that wants to attack you, it's going to be on you.
Well, even if you do pull it in time, what's the odds you actually hit it or hit it in the way that's lethal before it's on?
Right.
You? I mean,
I wonder if the noise would just scare it though.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't want to find out.
I don't know. No. But it's so, like I said, it's so rare. Like cougar attacks only happen like when a cat is,
old and hungry,
starving or sick, or like there's all these factors that play into it. But like these healthy cats out there, they're not there looking for us. They got plenty of
prey. They're apex predators. They're good at what they do. Yeah.
They don't need us. You know what I mean?
I haven't had Mexican food in a while. I'm gonna eat this guy real quick.
Enchilada sounds kind of good.
Yeah. But I had one night I went out camping by myself 2 summers ago, and I was going to set up kind of a camp. I took my truck out. I didn't hike anywhere. I was just out at the site. And I kind of heard a rustling in the bushes, and I was like, it's your imagination. So I kept setting up. I heard it a second time, and it got to that point, like, I don't know what this is. It may be nothing. But fuck that, I'm sleeping in the truck. I crawled in the bed of the truck and I slept in there and slept like a baby. Nothing came out, but it's just like, there's something. I mean, it could be a raccoon. I don't really care.
It was probably, and that's the thing too, like I'll wake up like in camp and there's like deer track and like you get like this, they come up, when you're sleeping at night, there's probably all kinds of animals that come to your camp. Raccoons, whatever it may be. But I remember my first solo backpacking trip was really unsettling. Like I never had a problem sleeping in the backcountry with friends. Like it's all good. It doesn't bug me. I don't think about that kind of stuff.
Right.
But my first solo trip was a little unsettling, and every time I heard a noise, it was definitely something that was going to kill me. And I was being a little bitch about it. I mean, I did it, and I was out there for 3 days, and I did okay. But my last night at camp, I had a really bad storm. And my last night at camp, like I spent like 16 hours in my tent. It was a crazy windstorm that blew in, and I was just stuck in my tent. It was terrible. It sucked, but I did it.
Yeah.
And that last night, I was in my tent. It was probably like 3 a.m. The wind is blowing so hard, it's like the tent's blowing against my face. I had like frozen snot in my mustache because it was cold as shit.
Yeah,
that's always.
And I heard a cat call, and I was like, "This is it. This is how I'm going out. I'm gonna go out this windstorm, get fucking eaten by a cat." Like, and it was. Usually I'd just be sleeping. I probably wouldn't even hear it. But when you're alone, I don't give a shit who you are or how badass you think you are. You get put in a situation where you're in the backcountry and you're fucking alone and it's dark and it's cold and you're scared and you want your mom and you hear any kind of noise, it's definitely Bigfoot.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to eat your face off. You're dead.
No, when me and Tom were out in the Wenatchee area, it was just us. And I think we've said this story before, but like, it is so weird to be the only ones, it feels like, in the world at that moment.
When you haven't seen anybody in hours and you can't hear anybody
and you're like, what, 10 to 15 miles in the woods?
I think, we're 12 to 15 15
You're done. They ain't going to find you.
Yeah, let's run back.
Yeah,
they'll come to a fucking cougar picking its tooth with my fucking rib cage.
Right.
Like, oh, that guy was good.
And at that point, I hadn't seen anybody probably in almost a day.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I went in, I set up camp. The first spot, I kept making camp and breaking camp. But when I got to the base of the lake, it was like this desolate, like, you could tell that no one goes out there. Super quiet, like very, very, very just isolated feeling. And it was worse too, because like I said, my morale was down. I got stuck in this massive windstorm, and it was cold as shit. And I remember hiking into that last camp. It was probably like a 7-mile hike, but it felt like a 20-mile hike, and I was freezing, and it was sideways rain, so I was already like in a vulnerable state. And I finally got to the lake, and I got to camp, and I was trying to get my tent in, and I was like, it was all just rocks, and I was like beating my stakes in the rocks, and they were bending, and I couldn't get my tent in. It was trying to blow away, and it was just a miserable day. And when I got to the camp, it was probably like, I don't know, like early afternoon. And when I finally got my tent up, I just climbed inside because I was so cold, and I was like eating some of my food because I was hungry. And I was in that tent from like mid-afternoon till the next morning, and I was up most of the night.
Wow.
And every little noise. I mean, thank God it was a windstorm, so it probably cut a lot of the noise out.
Right.
But every little noise, I was just like, this is it. Like, this is how I'm going out.
Well, a lot of the animals probably hunkered down too. I don't know how many of them love
and I
to
thought
be
about
out
that too. When I heard that cat call, I'm going to say I'm going to be honest and say I'm probably 70% it was a cat call. But I was thinking like,
hey baby,
he's not in the move probably like
right.
In most storms, those animals are bunkering down. This is the way that I was bunkering down.
Right, exactly. They're waiting for it to pass. But they're calling out, say, hey, who's
Dad.
out there?
Hey, girl, hey.
This little bitch is lonely.
Hey, Daddy, I see you walking by yourself.
But like I said, I was so beaten down as a man at that point. And it probably wasn't even that major. Like, I tell the story, it gets probably more dramatic every time I tell
it. I was actually just behind my house, but...
So the cat had me by the head. It was crazy. I got away, though.
Right. It was just like I said, my first solo backpacking trip. I just happened to get stuck in this crazy mountain storm.
That's crazy.
And it sucked, and there was like nothing I could do. And I remember like waking up the last day, and I got a couple hours of sleep. Finally, I like passed out out of just exhaustion.
Right.
And I woke up, and like it was still a little windy, but it was definitely blowing through. And I got out of my tent, and I pulled all my gear out and stuff, and I was letting it dry out. The sun started coming out, and I made some coffee and shit, and like. I was like, oh, should I stay another night? But I was just at that point, I was just so tired, like mentally, just from all the bullshit I had been through. I let all my gear dry out. I packed it up and I hiked out. And the hike out, the last day, it was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like beautiful day. But that third night was just like, oh my God.
I can't do that again. Yeah.
It takes like, you got to be, if you're solo backpacking, like you have to be mentally strong enough because.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you got no one to lean on, and it's just your mind. It's like you get stuck in these elements, and you're just like, "Why am I out here? Why am I doing this?" Right. But me being so stubborn, like I could have hiked out that second day because I knew the storm was already blowing in. I could have just took off and hiked back to my car, but I was like, "Fuck that! It's my first solo backpacking trip. I'm not gonna fucking quit." And I pushed myself, and I'm glad that I did, and I'm proud that I did. But
well, I mean, I think that's a good feeling right there.
Yeah.
When you can like push yourself and like fight past that. That fear or whatever you're going through at that moment, because I think it's when you quit on yourself where you're like, God damn it, you kind of beat yourself up even more. So to like actually like, you know what, I'm going to do this.
But every season of Alone, I mean, you got these guys that prove themselves enough that producers are like, yeah, we're going to pay for you to go out to this like backcountry somewhere random in the world. And there's always somebody like day two.
Yeah, it's obviously not easy.
I think
it's obviously not.
They have to, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about that scenario, and they're like, day two, nope, I'm done. Like,
yeah. And I try, and when I watch those kind of shows, I don't watch a lot. I did watch Alone. And that's one that I did like.
Yeah, I like that.
If people watch these shows and they're like, oh, he made it 4 days, what a pussy. You go out there for 4 days by yourself.
Seriously. No, it's no joke. No. You're going to be hungry at the end of day one.
Oh, I'm gonna be a grumpy ass.
Your first night is
going to be
angry.
Shut the curtain.
I know. We forgot. We were so focused on audio, we forgot to shut curtains, so we've got sunlight pouring through.
It's not that easy, but
yeah, it's not.
And then but that's life. Like
right. Well, you convince yourself that there's something awful out there just ready to kill you. You have to have a lot of mental fortitude to fight that fear off. Yeah. And that actual inclination to get the hell out of there.
Well, I think part of hiking too is hiking or just that kind of stuff in general is a good way to just like kind of fight through, like if you're going through a struggle or anything,
right.
Like a mental issue. You know what I mean?
Physically,
sometimes it feels good to just kind of like reevaluate what's going on in your life or whatever. And that's
I always say trail therapy.
Yeah,
I'm saying for a reason, and it's real shit because back in. 2018, I don't even know anymore, 2018, 2019, when I went through my divorce, I was a fucking mess. And I had days where I was like, this might be it for me. Like, I don't know. Like, it was really heavy.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I was in a position where I had a job where I had a lot of vacation time built up, and I was in a position where I could just take off and be gone for days at a time. And I really got, and I kind of ditched the day hiking, and I started getting more into the backpacking. I'm like, I don't want to do a day hike. I want to be gone for days at a time. I want to do this shit.
Right.
And I really got into backpacking at that point. And there was a summer where like I was gone, half the summer I was gone on the trail. And it was a lot of reflecting and a lot of this like knowing that, and it's knowing that you're strong enough and that you could do this. And it's that whole theory of life. It's like, you're strong enough, not just to go out there and do that. You're strong enough to get through whatever it is you're going through. And when you get out there and you got this clear head and there's nothing in the way and there's no city sounds and there's no bullshit or like anything to take your focus, you're just in your thoughts.
Right.
You're out there and you're in the thick of it and you're just in your head the whole time. but it's not like a dark space in your head. Like when I'm home and I was by myself and I was just beating myself up in my head and I was just feeling weak. But you get out on the trail and you're in this beauty and you're in this, backcountry, and it's just so relaxing, and you reflect, but you're reflecting in a positive way, and you're doing hard things as you're reflecting. So you're like, if I can do this, I can do this.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of it's kind of a crossover. And I'll tell you right now, backpacking saved my life. And I got to a point where I was stronger than ever and was happy by myself, who I was. I felt good enough, strong enough. That shit, that summer changed my life. It did.
Yeah, I think once you can find how to be like happy with just yourself by yourself, that's a great place to be.
You can't be happy with anybody else until you're happy with yourself. Yeah, that's just life.
That's a hard thing to do too, though.
It is. I think like I've told Tom before, I've struggled with that where I'm not happy with myself, and it took a lot to get back to that place in my life, and
yeah. It's like this last year, I lost my employment and I was out of work for a long time, and I was at a place where I wasn't strong, I wasn't good enough, and my mental health was in the toilet, and I didn't talk about it. I just went through it on my own, and I wasn't going out and doing the things that I loved because I almost felt like lethargic and didn't have the push to do it because I was just, you get depressed and you get, you lay around and you get lazy and shit and you get fat, and I was like just not doing what I loved doing and didn't have the drive to do it, and it's terrible for your mental state. And being out there and just having something to do and to focus on is huge. Like I'm trying to find something at my house to do. Like I need to find I need to find something to take my mind off of things when I'm home.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not easy to always, drive out 2 hours and get to some trailhead and go hiking. That's not always an option. Right. Especially with gas prices nowadays. It's not always an option.
Holy cow. Yeah.
So I was out of work and I was, money wasn't really a thing. So I couldn't do what I loved, and I started to crumble, and it affected my life in a major way, and it affected my relationship. And me and my girlfriend split up, and she's like, "Listen, like if you want to, if I ask you if you're fine and you say you're fine and you don't talk about your shit, like if this is just who you are, then I can't do this." So not to snowball from backpacking to mental health, but I guess that's what we're doing. And me and Tom talked about this last week, but you have to talk to people about how you're feeling. If you shut people out, then you end up being isolated by yourself. And that's kind of where I'm at this moment. So
I think I need
to get back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, just as men, we always say that I'm fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even though when you're not, you're like, no, I'm fine. Cause you don't want to like tell anybody you're feeling a certain type of way.
Right.
Cause like, I know I used to say that, and then, people give you shit for it when you do finally say like, "Whoa, why are you bitching?" This and that, it's like, well, then I ain't going to tell you how I feel.
I don't think men are taught how to speak feelings, though.
Yeah, we're not.
I really, Brian, you and I were talking, like you said last week, and remember when you made the comment about how you're good at talking to people, you're good at explaining things to people, and then we talked about it's hard though when it's yourself.
Oh yeah.
There's that awareness that is not built into us. It's not something that we're encouraged to do or really taught how to do. And then we're supposed to express our feelings. Well, we don't have words to put. We know. Obviously, we're not like stupid. We know what feelings.
But you don't know what it feels. You know what I mean?
Right. We don't have knowledge in looking at why or really connecting those dots in a meaningful way. And it's a pain in the ass because half the time that's what gets us in trouble. No, go ahead.
I think we're still, even though, you might be a little younger than I am, but we still grew up kind of in the same generation.
Yeah.
And I think we grew up in a generation of like, we're men, we don't talk about our feelings, we're strong, we're the alpha males. That's just how we were raised.
Right.
So now in our adult years, it's so ingrained in us that we don't do that. And we don't do that. And what I never understood was I've always been pretty open and pretty good about talking to people.
Uh-huh.
But for some reason, when it came to talking to my spouse, I couldn't do it. And it's not like she made me feel like I couldn't. She was always like, "Hey, listen, you can have a hard day. That's okay. I love you. But if I ask you what's wrong, you got to talk to me. That's part of being a partner. Yeah. That's part of being in a relationship. You have to share how you feel. Because if you don't, all you're going to do is fight. And that's where we got to in the end, where we were just bickering all the time. And I'll take 90% of that because that was me. Because I would, what's wrong? Nothing. Like, geez. And I would get almost defensive. But she's like, dude, like, if this is just who you are, nothing's wrong, then fuck off. Like, you got to go.
Yeah.
Not those words, but like, she got tired of me pushing her out. Like, it's okay to be sad today, man. Just tell me why you're sad. And if you don't know why you're sad, just tell me you don't know why you're sad. You're just having a day, and I will do whatever I can to make you feel better.
I have literally had that conversation.
I was going to say, like, it's really hard. Like, when you get, we go back to, like, you don't know how to express how you feel. Because there's those times where, like you just said, you've had those conversations.
Still do.
I just had one of those moments the other day where I was just in a pissy fucking mood, and I had I don't know why. Maybe deep down, subconsciously, maybe I did, but you get in those state of mind where you're just you're just annoyed. So I like left to go to the store to like kind of like reset my head, and then came back and I was like, okay. That's when I came to your guys' house and I was like, saw the dog, and I was just in annoyance. I don't even know why. I was just like fucking annoyed.
It happens. I mean, and there probably is, like you said, there probably is some root to it. You just don't know what it is.
Yeah, right.
But that's okay sometimes. You can't always identify your feelings. That's just we're humans. We don't always like, well, I feel like this because of this. Like, we're not hardwired that way. Sometimes
my mama hit me when I was younger, and now I'm feeling some type of way. Right.
Like, my dad beat me as a kid, so now I feel like this today.
No, that's it.
But I'm trying to get to a place where, like, I'm just being open and talking about my shit and identifying why I react certain ways. My thing is where I was at as well with my ex-girlfriend was I was very critical. I only focused on what wasn't. There was a lot that was working, but I only focused on what wasn't working.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I was out of work. My self-confidence was gone. I felt like I couldn't control my own life. So I think I was like trying to micromanage hers and control hers. And the house wasn't clean enough. And you're not mothering right. The kids aren't being good enough. And I was focusing on all this negative shit, and I was giving her all this unwarranted advice or opinions that she wasn't asking for. Like, motherfucker, I didn't ask you. How good, like, it's not your place to tell me how good I'm doing. And I kind of made her feel like she wasn't good enough as a mom and as a spouse and as just overall as a person. I kind of beat her down, and I didn't do it purposely. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a monster.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, though. Right.
I got to this place where I was just like pointing this shit like, no. And I was just this negative energy, and like it was like this cloud over the house, and it was changing our dynamic and my dynamic with the kids. And it was just like, it just wasn't a healthy space. And we couldn't talk. All we did was we would try to talk and we would fight because I was closed down to it and I wouldn't, talk about my shit. And now I'm in a situation where, we ended things, we got in a fight, things. I took it to the extreme and I started packing my shit up and I'm going home then, I guess. And I tossed her key at her and was being all dramatic. And then I got home and I was like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't keep doing this. You can't keep running away and not talking about your shit and abandoning those people that you love.
Yeah, for sure.
So now I'm in a space where I'm in this whole, like, what does it all mean? I'm having that moment. I feel like at 44, I'm kind of having a midlife crisis. I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah.
Started having panic attacks. Like, I'm in this really vulnerable state right now where I'm like doing some like heavy looking at myself and why I act certain ways and trying to be open to new ideas. I was also very like, that's stupid, I'm not doing that. Like I was so just closed off to ideas and I was so critical and I was just this negative space, and that's not who I want to be and that's not who I am.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So now I'm on this journey, if you want to say it, to be a more open person and be a better person and not be critical. I'm on a criticism diet. I watched a video on YouTube where it's a lady talking about criticism and like how we fall into these patterns. And like, she's like, I might be talking about you. I might be talking about someone that you live with, but like, this is why we do this, and kind of touching on that kind of stuff. And like, go on a criticism diet where you go out of your way to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Whether you're the best person in the world, you have to be intentional sometimes to be that best person.
Yeah.
So you have to be intentional to not be critical of others or put people down and go on this criticism diet and focus on what's going right. So that's kind of something I'm working on as well, to try to mend my relationship with my ex-girlfriend, because we are still in contact and she's being very patient and she's kind of watching my growth.
Right.
And I need to do it for me. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it for us, because doing it for people are always like, don't do it for somebody else. Well, if you love that person, that is for you.
Yeah.
Me doing it for her somewhat is me doing it for myself, because when I look at the big picture, I want her in my life.
Right. Yeah. Well, even if it weren't her, if you don't grow, if you don't learn from it, you don't change from it, the same thing's going to happen.
You're going to fall in a pattern.
Even somebody else, doesn't matter. I mean, if you want happiness in the end, whether it's with somebody or by yourself, you're right.
Control yourself.
Well, you got to self-reflect on, why almost trying to figure out. Because, you know, like for me, like I came to a point in my life where I was drinking every day. Like I was, you know, because I was just, I don't know, I was just in a very wrong mental state of mind. And kind of like what you were saying, you know, like you start bickering and bitching about other stuff that you're like, why am I bitching about, you know, like, why am I saying this stuff? Like, what the fuck, you know, because it's more like something's wrong with me. So I'm going to reflect what I'm feeling on you. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't identify what it is, but you know what? I'm going to take it on you.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to make you feel the way I'm feeling right now. And so, you know, that's where, you know, like you said, you're sitting at home and you're like, you're just lost in your thoughts and it kind of eats at you.
Yep.
I think that's where for me, that's where I was. And I was like, okay, I need to get out of this and get back.
So what did you do? What did you do to get better?
Well, after talking with my wife, like, cause I was drinking a lot, you know, she was just like, you know, eventually you're going to lose me. Like, I'm here for you, but like, you know, the state of your mind, like where you're going is not okay. You need to do something. You need to get like help, therapy, and still being stubborn. I didn't go to therapy or anything, but I was just like, I think one day it was after the whole Nash's incident. Right. So recently, really, I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I need to change. I need to get back to being happy with doing stuff. So I started getting back into shape. I started getting out of the house because working from home really was getting to me. And and I was injured because I tore my Achilles. So I'm not playing sports. I'm not doing, like you said earlier, the things you love to do. Right. So for me, I was like, I love being active, and I wasn't doing that. And I, you know, my work started slacking. Like everything in my life started tumbling. I was like, okay, you're falling into this trap that you used to do way back in the day. You know, you're in your fucking 40s now. Let's fix it. Right. And so, like, I started just, I don't know.
Well, that's it. You have to be aware of behaviors because
that's when I started being self-aware. Yeah,
right.
You have to get to a place where you're like, you're almost embarrassed and disgusted with yourself.
Oh yeah, I was there.
You have to. It has to take an incident. Like for me, it was my breakup. It has to I love Jess to pieces. She's a beautiful woman. She's got the kindest heart. She is so. This woman is amazing. She is. Hopefully things work out, Tom. You get to meet her one day. I probably shouldn't name drop it. Who the, you know, I'm dropping last names. This woman is great, and she's been nothing but supportive. And no one has ever, you know, I'm not going to be one of those people like, oh, this is true love. I've never had it before. I've had true love. I know what it feels like. I'm not saying she's my first and only one true love, but when it comes to how she loved me as a person, I got some shortcomings. I do, like we all do. And she always accepted me for who I was, no matter what it was. And it was like, there was no reason why I couldn't talk to her or any of that shit. She gave me no reason to do that. That's just something that I unfortunately chose to do. I'm not really someone who's used to dealing with mental health. I didn't think I had any kind of mental health problems until about a year ago. Me and her, actually, this is our second time doing this. We split up about a year ago, but that time I didn't do the work.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
I just said, I'm not going to do this anymore. Well, guess what, guys? It doesn't fucking work that way.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, if you really like something, you know, you really love someone. I mean, you got to put in the work.
Right.
Like I was married, you know, and you know, I didn't put in any work towards it, and I was younger and stupid, and obviously, and so you know, things didn't go the way they did, and you know, it is for what it is. But like the second time around, it's like my wife's very open for me, like you know, like your ex, where it's just like she accepts who you are, and she's willing to work with you, but it's like you got to really put in the effort to work.
Yeah. She's like, hey, so you know, we've done this before. Like it's like, I can't keep doing this with you, which I understand. And I told her myself, you know, we talked the other night, and I said, listen, this is our final hurrah. Like if we, you know, right now we're not together, but we're keeping in contact. You know, we hang out here and there, take walks, we talk, like, cause you have to see the other person to know if you're changing.
Right.
So if you want to see the change, you have to still be in my life. So I kind of like, not begged her, but was like, hey, listen, like, just hang in there and watch what I'm doing. And let's get together once in a while, spend some time together. And you can see what I'm working on. I'm working on being less critical, being more open-minded.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I'm working on, but for me, it's identifying why I would act the way I would act. We have to identify why we're doing something. Yeah. I have to identify why I'm being critical. I have to identify my shortcomings. So that's the hardest part, is like really looking at yourself and going, I'm really being a piece of shit. Why am I doing that? Like, you have to accept your bullshit. And I was on the phone with my cousin, a different cousin, not Tom, a while back. And my cousin said to me, this is going to sound a little bit harsh, but I want you to answer me one thing. Now, before I go into this, I want to explain that I have a very strained relationship with my son right now. Unfortunately, my son's not really a part of my life. Okay. He doesn't seem to want to be. You know, I do what I can. I reach out to him. I'll send him a text like, hey, thinking about you. I love you. Like, I'm never going to give up. Because it's my job as a parent to never give up, no matter what the situation is. I'm always going to fight for you. So that being said, he's not really in my life right now, which is another pain, which is something else I struggle with that I don't really talk about. But my cousin said to me, why do you have a strained relationship with your son? I said, well, the only thing he ever really told me was I was too hard on him and I made him feel like he wasn't good enough. Mm. Now, I'm in a situation where my girlfriend said I'm done because I was too hard on her and it made her feel not good enough.
Yeah.
So that is my cycle. And and when I said it out loud, she's like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be mean. I was like, no, like it was like this awakening. It was like, holy shit, she's right. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm pushing everyone I love away from me and making them feel not good enough. And why the fuck am I doing that?
Yeah.
For the people that I love the most, you know? So I had to dig into my shit. And, you know, I always say I don't have daddy issues, but I do. My dad was an abusive alcoholic. He was very mentally and physically abusive. Oh. And like my mom's like, listen, like your dad has spent all your childhood telling you that you weren't good enough.
So it's like you're like almost projecting that to others around you in a way, you know?
Yeah. You know, and I always said, like, I'm not going to make the mistakes my dad made. I'm going to be a better father. I try to take what he did as a learning experience and put a positive spin on it.
Right.
But then I stop and think and I'm like shit. Like I'm doing what my dad did. I think that's where a lot of that stems from. And also the fact that I haven't been feeling very good about myself for the last year. So now everyone else is going to feel like shit.
Yeah.
But I can't do that. I have to stop doing that. And I've identified, I can't say 100% it's all stemmed from my childhood. I don't want to be one of those people who's like, oh, everything is like this because of what happened when I was a kid. Like, I don't want to, like, it feels like an excuse. Yeah. Like, you're an adult. You should know, like, I should know better as an adult. Whether that's what I went through, that's not right. I don't do that to other people, and I don't continue that cycle.
Right.
So we fall into these cycles subconsciously. We don't even know we're doing it.
Right.
And it destroys our adult relationships.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's something you just said is like subconsciously. Sometimes you don't even know.
Right. Well, see, that's the thing is everything is learned. Behavior is one of those deeply learned patterns. That's all it really is.
Yeah, yeah.
So to know intellectually, I'm not going to treat somebody like crap. Is one thing. I don't think there's anybody on earth that goes out like, I want to treat this person like crap. Maybe you're psychopath.
Unless you're Jeffrey Dahmer. I disagree with that. Go
ahead. Let's say healthy people, right?
Right.
But, yes. However, everybody does it to somebody multiple times a day, a week, a month, whatever. I mean, it just happens. And that is because how do you learn something that isn't ever taught?
Yeah.
Most of this stuff, you kind of have to go through life experiences to actually go through it and figure it out. And that's where, you know, the pain, as bad as it is, it's one of the only things that actually can give you the opportunity to grow.
Well, I think one thing that you... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think something that you said that really kind of like made sense. And this goes back to me, like music's like a therapy for me.
Uh-huh.
I feel that, brother. I feel that.
You know, anyway, there's the thing you said about daddy issues, right? And I think that's something men don't really openly admit that they have, because you always hear women have daddy issues. Right. Well, guys, we get the same thing. We have daddy issues just like anybody else. Was just we don't, you know, we never admit that. And I think you admitting that, and I think that's a huge step just in that sense. But it reminds me of that song like by this. There's this rapper I like, Kendrick Lamar. He just came out with a new album, and he has a song called Father Time, but he talks about his daddy issues. So, and like how it affected him with his relationships and mentally, like,
right.
But he had to reflect upon himself. Basically, he had daddy issues. And I was like, when I heard that song, I was like, fuck, you know, that's, you know, me not growing up with a dad. Yeah. You know, I didn't grow up with a dad, but like, you know, I had stepdads in here and there, but like, in a sense, I still had those issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just trying to find how to fucking deal with it and get past it and move on and change, but not just change. Because, you know, we tell people, oh, I'm going to change for you, girl. Right. I'm going to change. But it's like a temporary thing, but making it like a permanent thing. That's I think that's the hard part.
Well,
anything has to be a routine, just like working out. Like, it has to be a lifestyle. You can't just say, I'm going to change and then do it for a little bit and go back to your old ways. Exactly. It's a life change. You have to work constantly. It's like working out. You have to constantly work out to stay in shape. You can't be like, I'm going to go to the gym this week and then stop doing it. And I'm going to stay fit.
Yeah. Even 30 years later, that's the thing about these behavioral patterns. Like, once it's in your head, it doesn't just go away. There's no time limit on where suddenly I'm not going to do that anymore. And I've been out of that cycle for 5 years. Everything's good. What you have to be careful about is when you have stressful times or when things out of your control happen and you start to get in that mental space where things aren't easy and it's not that you can focus on that problem. That's when it comes back and bites you hard, because you feel like, this is everybody, I think, you feel like you're safe in a way because you've focused on it for so long. Now you can kind of address these other issues. Well, you take your eye off the prize. Yeah, you're slowly going to backpedal a little. One day you don't go to the gym. The next week you haven't gone in a week, and you're eating chips again. And like, it's just one little small step at a time. So
and that's what happened last. Like I said, that's what happened last time when we split up about a year ago, and it was like, I'm going to change. I'm going to do better, but I didn't do the work, and I fell right back into the old patterns. And she's like, listen, and that's why I'm at where I'm at now, where she's like having a hard time trusting the process. She's like, listen, like you told me last time, things are going to be different, and they were beautiful for like 2 months, and then you went back to the same old shit. It's like you have to constantly be conscious about your actions all the time and everything in your life,
which is not easy to do.
No, it's not. Well, and that's the thing. Like with my wife, when I told her, I'm going to. And I didn't admit that I'm going to quit drinking. Oh, I'm done drinking, because I couldn't. I can't admit to that.
Yeah. Don't say what you can. Don't ever. And that's another thing. And I'm going to say this real quick and let you continue. Don't ever agree to some shit that you can't do.
Right. Well, see, that's what I used to do, right? It's easy because it was easy to end the conversation, right? I'm going to quit. I'm never doing that again. I'm done. 3 weeks later, I'm fucking shit-faced or something stupid.
3 hours later.
And so like I had to actually show her that I'm working that. And there's times now where I feel I'm starting to, I'll feel either I'm like relaxing or I'm feeling a certain way, but I can feel myself wanting to drink or do something. And I'm like, okay, I have to find something to counteract that activity. So let me work on this at the house. Let me go, let me go do something. Absolutely. Because I'm gonna make the mistake, and I know me. I'm gonna go to the store, get me something to drink real quick.
And the behavioral world, that's a replacement, and that's the thing that they always say. You can't really just stop doing something. You have to replace something with something else. So when you feel like you want to drink, you got to go.
And that's why I started getting into the running and the biking more. I needed to find something in town that I could do.
Yeah.
Not do the other things. Like I'm gonna go for a run. I'm feeling a little pent up today. I'm feeling a little easily irritated with the kids. I'm going to go for a run.
Yeah, exactly. That's
a healthy outlet that actually will then in turn release endorphins that when you come back, you have a little more energy for dealing with it and a little more level head, which again is not always an easy thing to do. Like there are triggers in life. You're going to have triggers, and people that love you also have to be aware of that. You're not just going to be this perfect person all the time.
Yeah, no one's perfect. And you have to, like everything in life, you have to replace habits with other habits.
Right.
Well, I mean,
that's just what it is.
Life gets overwhelming.
It does.
Being a dad, a parent, even moms and whatever, husband, wife, like, I mean, that gets overwhelming sometimes.
Right.
Like you put, especially as a man, I think we put a lot on our shoulders. I got to take care of this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And then over time, instead of asking your significant other, hey, I kind of need help with the kids or I need help with this, we just get angry. Why is the house dirty?
Well, there's a self-judgment side too.
God damn it.
We talk, I think, a lot in our culture about.
I hate to do that.
Well, I mean, I think women, it's kind of out there that they have these issues with like their own image and they're not good enough or whatever. Men have the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
We have the same exact issues. We don't think we look good enough. We don't feel good enough. We hate ourselves. I'm not
pretty enough.
Right. We're not successful.
I think the difference with men and women, and I don't know if you guys feel this to be true, but I feel like with men and women are more vulnerable. They'll say they don't feel good enough or whatever. They'll be more open. Whereas as men, is for like myself, and I say this all the time, I come off with a really hard exterior. I'm a smart ass. I'm funny. And a lot of those traits that I have is because I'm hiding behind something.
It's compensation.
I'm not this like hard ass dude. Like I'm not like,
right.
trying to think of an example. Just like an ex-friend of mine had a daughter who I've always been very close with. He was never a very good father. He wasn't in her life. I took her in kind of like a daughter to myself and was very close with this girl. And last year, she approached me. We went out to dinner, and it was supposed to be like just a dinner. We was catching up, and the process of dinner, she pulls a little bag out, and I know she's about to get married. She pulls this little bag out, and it's got a pink tie in it and this little card, and she's asking me to give her away, to walk her down the aisle.
Wow.
And I, even like right now, I'm not going to do it because I'm a grown-ass man, but at that moment, I just started to sob like a child. Like I was so touched by that gesture. It was like, oh my God, like, and I probably wouldn't have cried that hard. Like, don't get me wrong, I was completely in my feelings and flattered, and like, it meant so much to me, but I was like sobbing, and it's because there's all this shit, feelings that I have that I don't address. So when something finally gets through to me, I lose my shit.
It's really hard. Yeah.
I cried my entire wedding. I was like a woman. I shouldn't say that. That sounds so shitty to say, but I was
well,
like,
in the 90s, you could say that.
Yeah.
2000.
Tom was there. Tom was in the wedding. He knows.
Yeah.
Dude, did I not sit up there the whole time and cry?
You did well. You got through the whole thing.
His shoulders are shaking.
Oh my goodness, I was a mess.
Yeah.
I was a mess.
Yeah.
And my to-be wife at the time is like totally got her shit together. And I'm up there just like, I remember like joking to the crowd. I'm like, don't judge me. And I got something in my eye. And like when I finally get to that point, I crumble like a fucking cookie because there's so many feelings that I hold in because I'm not that hard ass that I present myself to be. Right. I'm a soft dude. I think we're all soft dudes. And we hide behind this exterior because that's how we were raised to be the man.
Well, it's because of the fear of being weak or perceived as not strong enough. I mean, you think about it, in just nature and in modern life, everything, like you can't be perceived as weak. If you're perceived as weak, then there's all these repercussions.
You're pussy.
I don't think that it's a weakness to be able to speak and to be able to express yourself. That said, I know that I don't really know how to do it.
And I think sometimes we don't look at it as being a weakness. Like we're not subconsciously, maybe we are, but like in those moments, we're not like trying to be like, I don't want to be weak. You know, you just, I don't know. You just don't think about it.
Well, a lot of times for me, it's like the weakness comes out as anger. Like I perceive that I'm weak in some area. And so instead of like, trying to get better at that, I just get really pissed off and then break the lamp or like.
And that's what I was doing. I was pretty much at a point where I wasn't living with my ex-girlfriend, but I was there. I was living there pretty much. And we never had a conversation about it. So I was always there. I had no way to escape, but I was doing the same thing. Like I felt weak. I feel like I said, I was out of work. I wasn't feeling good enough. And all that hurt turned into anger. And that's what turned into me pointing and saying, that's not good enough. And that's where I got the whole criticism thing going on because it all just turned to anger because I had no control of my shit. And I feel like I wasn't good enough and I was hurting. So as men, like you just said, Tom, we take our feelings and we turn it and, externally we make it into anger.
But it's still really directed at our own selves.
It is.
You are mad because the presence of what was there wasn't good enough for you, for your feelings of your success. And so it was like proving to you that you weren't good enough, which then in turn pisses you off more.
And so you project it on others.
So you're really projecting it on others, but you're truly just projecting it back on yourself. And it's a fascinating thing that our brain does. And it's all about, again, something that we're never really taught how to do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we just learned through experience and a lot of luck how to change these.
Well, it's hard to deal with some of those stresses in life because, like you said, you don't learn from it or you don't, you weren't taught how to deal with certain stresses in life. So when a stress does come up, you don't know how to fucking deal with it. You're like, well, whatever,
Well, really, when you're really stressed out, do you feel like putting a lot of brain power behind something? Do you really?
No, you want to quit. You want to just give up.
Right. You're tired.
You want to veg out and be done with it.
Because dealing with stress dealing with those stresses sometimes takes a lot of energy.
Yes.
And that's another thing. Like that was another shortcoming where she would try to talk to me about something and I would just shut it the fuck down.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that because you don't want to deal with it.
I haven't.
And you're tired.
To do that
you're tired, and you know that, it's not going to be a productive conversation,
right?
Because you're not mentally in that state where you're not going to be rational. You're going to be just you're going to
say
out, and it's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
So let's just not talk about it. And you can't just not talk about anything.
Well, and it can be smart. It can be smart to table something until you have the ability, but you're right. If you just avoid it completely, or if you try to tell it to her and she's ready to have that conversation.
Well, it's really hard too. Like when you hear yourself say stuff like that, it's like, why can't I just say, you know what? In this moment in time, I'm not feeling it.
Right.
Can we come back to this conversation maybe when I'm a little less pissed off or angry? Instead like being an adult, as they say, instead of just saying, hey.
Doesn't it sound so easy?
It sounds so easy. It's so fucking hard.
But I think the hard part is the subconscious side. You have to be heard. Humans need to be heard. Yeah. We need to be understood. Right. You can't be wrong and be heard and understood. Now, you can go through the process of realizing that you've made a mistake or that your logic was wrong. But in that moment, a lot of times we get caught in the trap of needing to prove ourselves right, to vindicate ourselves and justify, us, and to be heard. And we get caught in that kind of cycle of arguing it versus discussing it.
And then men and women, actually, when you are in those angry states, you get kind of petty.
Oh, big time.
You know what I mean? You just start bringing up
because again, you want to prove to her something. Like you need her to know that you're right and that,
Well, because like for me, if me and my wife, we do a pretty good job communicating for the most part. But there's those times where she might be right on something, but for me, if I feel like I'm stupid or I feel like a piece of shit or something, I'm like, I'll say something stupid and petty to just reflect on her. Well, why do you keep the house dirty? Why is the laundry like this? Or you don't cook dinner no more.
Oh yeah, well you did it this time. When? Tell me about it. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, let's not even go down that fucking road.
Yeah, I know. So I'll do shit like that. My wife's just like,
whatever works. Not one time has it worked for me.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. It does not work.
You do. Anytime those words and like leaving out,
you can't slap your shit on somebody else. You can't fucking.
No.
Well, what about this? Like, no, like, shut up.
But
you start doing the comparing.
I guarantee you that comes out every time. If you're not thoughtful with it, it's kind of a go-to because you get defensive. Your guard goes up, and then it's like,
well, we think, and girls, they have a really good job of they can process things.
They have a stenographer in their brain.
They think real slow through things, but man, it's like in that moment we just snap and we just say something stupid, come out of our house. Yeah,
we're very impulse creatures.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
We don't think before we speak. And
we're going to put it in strong terms. We're hunters. We just go for the kill.
We're gatherers, goddammit.
And then your women come for you and kill you, actually. But
I think
they cut with words. So deadly.
Women.
Unfortunately, as humans, it takes that breaking point. It's like, I think as humans, maybe not all of us. I know for most men, I feel like we have to learn things the hard way.
Oh yeah,
women are more rational. They think before they speak. They are more intentional with their actions. Where we're like big dumb animals, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's our upbringing or how we were raised as men, but we're we don't think, and it takes some shit to really fall apart to make you go, okay, enough is enough. I can't keep doing this. This is a vicious cycle, and how do I fix it? And as shitty as it is, and Jess is a very positive light. She's like, listen, this sucks right now, but sometimes it takes, a village to fall apart to rebuild it. Right. And as much as this is uncomfortable and we miss one another, we can't continue down this road because it's not working. I'm not happy. You're not happy. And this might be a godsend. And whether we work things out or not, like Tom said earlier, you have to work on you to make your future a brighter future, no matter who you're with and who you're spending your time with, or any relationships that you have, not just a sexual, not to say sexual, but a romantic relationship versus any relationship, to make it work. Just like with my son, I have to work on this, and this might be a godsend for me right now to open up and see what's going on in my head, so I can not only fix my relationship with my ex, possibly, but with my son, which is the most important thing in the world to me.
Right.
So as much as it sucks that I'm at this vulnerable state that I'm at right now, I feel strong in my mental health. As much as I have days where I crumble, and I've been having some panic attacks lately.
Right.
But it's me. Those panic attacks, it's like me identifying all my bullshit.
Yeah, for sure.
And as much as it sucks and as much as I feel alone over here, I need to reflect and I need to figure it all out to have healthy relationships in the future. And it sucks as men, we have to have it go down this way. But I feel like that's how it has to happen. We have to get to a breaking point. It's like you said, Jesse, with the drinking. It's like, okay, I have to find something else to do.
Yeah.
Instead of doing this, you have to be intentional, and you have to get to that vulnerable state where you can take a hard fucking look at yourself, and that takes a fucking man to do. I don't give a shit. Say what you want, but to admit when you're wrong,
vulnerable,
and to admit to your shortcomings, whether you can identify what it is or not, just admit it and say, "Man, I'm kind of a piece of shit." That takes a fucking man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the low spot.
I'm being more of a man right now than I've ever been.
Right.
Well, it's good to like just get this out there too. You know, like.
Well, you've gotten out of your own way. That's the big thing, is we justify things to ourselves, and we change it in our head, and then we're just justifying it. We're not working on it.
Yeah.
We're just stuck there. So when you're in that low spot, you have to face it, because you've lost things that you want, and it just removes that cloud. So you see it clearly, and you can deal with it. So turn it into something really positive. You know, it's like you got to do something with the pain.
I've had unsuccessful relationships my whole life. You know, I have been in numerous long-term relationships that have fallen apart. And I'm not going to sit here and take all the responsibility for all of them, because it takes two.
Yeah,
but I have a lot of shortcomings over the years, and I've handled things really poorly over the years, and I have lost. I mean, I am 44 and single, and I've been in a lot of romantic relationships that have failed purely, based on the fact that I don't know how to talk about my shit. I don't know how to project my feelings in a positive way, and I push people away, and I make people feel like they're not good enough, and they get tired of my shit, and they leave. And I don't want to die alone. We're pack creatures, guys. We're not meant to be alone.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you have to. I'm not getting any younger, man. I'm 44. I'm over here living by myself, feeling like a sad bastard. Come the evening, I'm sitting here like, what do I do with my time?
Yeah.
I don't want this to be my life. You have to get to a point where you can be by yourself, and I'm working on that right now too, like being comfortable with myself.
Right.
Yeah.
But you got to figure your shit out before it's too late, guys.
Yeah.
Like we can't keep doing this cycle of bullshit. I can't keep doing this. I'm 44 years old. I want to do better, and I need to be more open-minded and just honest with myself and with my partner. Just like for example, I said I want to get into art. I've always been very artistic, maybe a little autistic as well, but I've always been like, I like drawing and stuff like that. I don't really do it often. I did when I was younger, but Jess came over because I had told her I want to get to drawing and stuff, and I need to find something to keep myself busy at the house. And she was nice enough. She came over a couple of nights ago, and she brought me some color pencils and like a pad and like all this stuff to do like different art stuff with.
Yeah, that's therapeutic.
And I reached out to her last night and was like, hey, I was thinking maybe I can come by and we could do some art together, listen to some music, and have some drinks. Like, that's not something I would ever say before. Like, that wouldn't be something. I'm like, that's stupid, because I'm a guy. That's stupid. I don't want to do that. I was very closed to different ideas. But you have to open yourself up, be a little bit vulnerable, and maybe get out of your comfort zone,
right,
and do something different. And for me, that was like, I mean, yeah, that could be fun, but for me, that was like saying to her, like, hey, let's do something that you would enjoy doing, and like not focusing on what's going to make you happy, but what's going to make your partner happy.
Right.
Like, I think you might need this, so let's do this. So that's a big part of being a couple, is you have to meet in the middle. It can't be all about what you want to do, or you shut their ideas down and your ideas are stupid, and I'm not doing that. That's dumb. Like, that doesn't work, man. You gotta. It's a give and take.
It is. And being vulnerable, like you said, that's huge. That's what I was just thinking just a few minutes ago, is just a lot of it's just, you got to let those vulnerabilities loose and out, because I mean, that's kind of what you're holding inside, is not trying to be vulnerable, or in reality, you kind of need to be in order to move on and kind of,
it's funny too. I'm listening
yourself.
to you talk and explain about these things, and I know Blanc and I have had a lot of the same conversations. I don't know if it's just our genes that we're related or what, but
I think it's.
I get these. I see things a certain way in my head, and once I'm talking specifically like physical things, where to park something or where to hang something or whatever. When I see it, it's very difficult for my brain to let that go and to accept something else. So a lot of times we've had arguments where, I don't know if she felt like I talked down to her or whatever it might be, but she's like, you never let me choose anything. It's always got to be the way you want it to be. And I think about that. I am struggling with that. I realized talking with you guys now that I think I'm doing a lot better, but I'm still
it's like a work in progress,
it's been a few months.
You gotta let go. You gotta let go a little bit, Tom. You got to just let go.
Right. It's hard to do, but
it's really hard to do.
It's one of those things, especially if it's something that you've done over and over, and it's just like a habit that you've done for 30 years or 40 years or whatever, to, you know, constantly just be self-aware of those things and just constantly be like, okay, wait, you know, take a step back, you know, pump the brakes a little bit and just be like, okay, maybe I'll.
It's definitely a control issue. It's it's like kind of a sci-fi. And like, we'll do movie nights. And like, she's always watching what I want to watch because I hate sci-fi. Whether I hate sci-fi or not, if I love her, once in a while I got to let go and say, what do you want to watch tonight?
Right.
It's small things like that that let your partner know that you care about them.
Right.
You have to let go of control and say, you know what? I love you and I trust you and I want you to be happy. So tonight, what do you want to do?
Right.
It can't be all about what you want. It doesn't work. Then you might as well be by your damn self. If you want a healthy relationship, you have to meet in the middle. Right. You have to say, you know what? I might not want to do a fucking sip and paint, but goddamn it, I'll do it with you because I love you.
I'm not gonna lie, sip and paint's kind of cool, man. Me and my wife did a date night once where it was like a paint night, and I would do it. Yeah. It was pretty fun. That was an example of like, because most men was like, I'm stupid, I don't want to do that. It's funny you say that because that's how I felt in that moment when it was suggested. I was like, that's retarded. It's gonna be all chicks here. And then I'm there and I'm like having fun. I'm like, oh shit, girl, these wines so bomb.
Dipping the Merlot. Hey, girl, hey.
Paint those daisies, bitch.
Oh my God, I'm so ignorant right now.
But no, it was actually a lot more fun when I actually was like, damn, this is actually kind of cool. You know, like I would do this again. It was, you know.
Yeah.
In that moment, though, it was more of a, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not.
And you know what? I bet your wife thought that was the sex. I bet you guys had great sex that night. I guarantee it.
Probably did. Yeah, my son was born.
You don't have to say it on the air.
And that's how my son became, that's how she became pregnant with our son.
and that's how babies are born, you know?
Yeah.
And as men, I mean, we have a one-track brain for like sex.
Yeah, this is true.
And if you think the long game, if you make your woman happy, she's going to make you happy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because they want to make you happy.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
You know, it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about treating each other with respect and being open and being honest. And if you can't do that, you are going to fail at all relationships for your entire life.
True.
And none of us, and all we want is, as a human race, everybody, is for someone to love and for someone to love them. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, we're creatures of habit. We like, you know, our whole sole purpose is to be with people and, communicate and just, you know, like you said, you don't want to be alone, and being alone's, you know, it's a tough thing to swallow. Like I was alone for a while there, and when me and, you know, Tom's now wife split and stuff, like, you know, I was alone. I mean, I had like, you know, people here, you know, I had my time here being single, but at the same time, at the end of the night, I was going to bed by myself.
Right.
And, you know, it's a lot of self-reflecting, like, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Who am I?
Right.
Yeah. And it's hard. Like, for myself, I'm here by myself. Like, I told her at one point, I said, listen, I'm not trying to like go tit for tat or who's sadder or who's having a harder time in this breakup, but you've got children in the home that you focus on. You got to be a mom. You have all this stuff going on. You're kind of sidetracked, where I'm here by myself in my head too fucking much. And I am my own worst critic, but at the same time, this has been good for me. I'm really getting to focus on my brain and why I, you know, do certain things. But man, there's times where I'm just like, I'll go do some shit I don't want to do just to not be alone.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll put myself in situations where I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? But it's better than sitting in my home alone, being alone.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I get, everyone's like, you got to learn how to be alone and be your own best friend and blah, blah, blah. Like I hear it. It annoys me to hear it. It annoys you to hear it when you're like, I don't want to hear that right now. So I'm going through that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like everything happens for a reason and blah, blah, blah. But you really have to embrace that and learn, to be by yourself and to love yourself and to identify, you know, why we act the way we act. And that's what I'm going through right now. And as hard as this breakup has been on me, I am owning my shit at 44 years old. Like I have never owned my shit in my life. And if us talking about this can help anybody else talk about their shit and have more successful relationships, that's all I want. I've been talking to everybody that I feel like has any kind of mental health issues or going through some shit. You know, my not blood daughter, but the girl who I gave away at the wedding I told you about, that's like a daughter of me. Her husband deals with some mental health stuff, and he's very like, I'm a guy, I don't talk about it, kind of closed down. And every time I see this guy, I go out of my way to talk to him and kind of turn a conversation a little deeper and talk to him and let him know, because he's 21, he's still young. And it's like, hey man, like this is fucking life. This is how it is. I'm a grown man talking to you, being honest, saying it's okay to talk about how you feel and to address your bullshit so you can have a successful life and relationships. So I'm on this kind of path of like dealing with my own shit and talking to other people about their shit.
Right.
And I like that back and forth bounce. So like you feel like you're helping somebody else, which in turn helps you as well.
For sure.
Right.
You know, it's like talking, like me and Tom talking, you know, we bounced back and forth about some shit that we had gone through.
Right.
And that bounce back and forth, I don't know about you, Tom, but that bounce back and forth, that helped me as well, dude.
Oh, it does. You get some clarity out of it, and you actually have to analyze the stuff you're saying and ask, does that check?
Yeah.
Does that still seem accurate?
When you can get it out there, too, when you actually hear it.
Right, to verbalize it.
To verbalize it, as opposed to just like internally talking through it, but to actually get it out in words, it's like, oh, shit. You know, it means more. It hits real. Harder. Yeah.
I mean, you have thoughts in your head all the time that aren't real, never amount to anything. But once you say something, it makes it more firm and solid.
But I think reaching out to people is like important, you know, like we've talked before, is just saying, you know, just doing a guy check, like, hey man, you know, I'm just thinking about you, how you doing, everything okay, you know.
Right.
Well, it's amazing because we are good at bitching about things.
Yeah.
But there's not one guy you know that isn't going to tell you, oh, you know, this fucking shit happened at work. That's us trying to get it out. We just never take the personal accountability side of it into account.
Like I've gone golfing a few times with some buddies and I'll hear them and, you know, they sound like they're bitching, but they're just getting out how they feel in that moment. You know what I mean? Yep. Oh, my wife, blah, 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 or my girl, this and that. And it's just like, oh, okay, you know, like get it out. Yeah. It's all right.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
guy talk.
Yeah.
Guy talk. And guy talk is like, it is productive. Like it doesn't, outside looking in, it probably doesn't sound very productive, but we have a way of talking to each other and it not sounding important when it really is important.
Right.
And I know for myself, I have a buddy of mine that I used to do a lot of backpacking with, and we'd get out on the trail and we'd set up camp and we'd sit around the fire and we would, you know, pass a bottle of BSB back and forth and we'd, you know, sipping off the bottle, just shooting the shit. And he's talking about his wife and, you know, I'm talking about my relationship, and it seems superficial and not that deep, but really like that's your time to connect. And that's like, I love shit like that. I love going out there and just sitting and sharing a bottle and not getting like tanked, but just sitting there, you know, being men.
Or getting tanked, one or the other.
Well,
me and Tom have been there.
It's happened.
I know
it's
exactly
happened
what you mean.
a time or 10, but just sitting there. And
a lot of times it's nice to, you know I'm always kind of listening for like, is this normal? Are other people going through the same thing?
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of in that bullshitting, you're kind of testing out, is this okay or not okay? Or
yeah, do you feel this way too?
Because you don't want to, exactly. You don't want to say, I'm afraid I'm really weak. You suck at this too? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you just realize, I don't know how many guys I've spoke to, like friends, and just overhearing people. It's just like, damn, they're going through the same shit. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like people that leave a relationship to cheat, thinking that the next one's going to be better. It's going to be the exact same fucking thing.
Like I was I think that's for me for a long time. That's how I dealt with stuff. I was a cheater, and you know I've admitted that before, and that's how I kind of dealt with my own shit back in the day. Was go fuck around with this other chick or whatever. When in reality, it's like there's some shit inside you that you need to deal with, your own issues, and I mean that took. Dude, that took years. I'm still dealing with shit. Not that I'm a cheater now, but like I'm still dealing with all my mental shit and trying to feel happy.
I don't think it ever really ends.
Like if you were just running from it, dude. Like
Oh, for sure. That's what I was doing. I was just like, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, distractions. Everything in your life that isn't dealing with it is just some form of distraction away from it.
You know, like you say, you change you replace these habits, but I was replacing my habits with bad habits. Now I'm not gonna cheat no more. Okay, I'm gonna do drugs. You know, I had my time dealing with that. And then I dealt with drinking, or I dealt with, you know, some stupid shit instead of just like, let's be a little more positive.
Right.
Yeah. A little more intentional. There's a fine line of like replacing a habit or keeping busy and not dealing with your shit. Like you have to, yes, you have to find things to do and you have to stay busy. And that's how I've gotten through a lot of my hard times. Like this, I got to stay busy. I would plan. I remember when I was going through my divorce, I would plan my weekends out. Like I would set up things to do with people, and I was like, just go, because I didn't want to deal with my shit.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't work either.
No.
You have to find a happy medium of staying busy and owning your shit.
Right.
You can't just keep running from your shit. And when you were being a cheater, that's what you were doing. You were just running from your shit, and you were replacing it with a good feeling.
Oh, yeah, for sure. A quick feeling, you know.
That distracts you away from the problem. And
a quick feeling?
A quick 30-second feeling.
I'm sorry. That's a whole different subject we're not going to talk about.
That's another podcast.
If you have a
That's not a long distance runner. Okay, duly noted.
Take Hims.
Would you want to talk about ED? You can do that too. Okay. No, I don't know about. Listen, and since we're going to feel things out, and I'm going to be real, we're going to go fucking real for a minute here. Okay. Speaking, I just said the word ED. Now I don't know about you guys, but I want to make sure that, like you said, we bounce off each other as men to see if is this just me? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just be fucking real for a minute. This is something I've never addressed and I've never dealt with, but towards the end of my last relationship, I was finding myself to have a hard time being aroused, and I was a little, you know, like, and my phone knew, like I was getting like ED texts bouncing off my phone, but
I think it's just honestly.
I got to a point where like I wasn't, and that was another thing that was hard for her, is I wasn't being physical with her. Yeah.
Well,
the sex tapered off.
I can tell you, I went through that for about a year myself.
Well, I think
recently,
I'm sorry, Tom, say that again.
I went through that for about a year recently myself.
Yeah.
Actually,
and I don't know.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So that's something I've never dealt with in my life, and as men, we don't want to talk about ED.
Right.
No, nobody wants to talk about that shit.
Implications to that issue.
Not feeling like a man and not feeling like you're strong enough.
Right.
Okay, well there it is.
Right.
But I had to have an honest talk. We were walking and talking one night after we had split, and I was like, I feel like I need to say this out loud to her because I know she took it probably as something personal. And I said, hey, Jess, I'm not sure what we were talking about. I said, I want to have a real talk with you for a minute and let you know that, when I was in my depression and I was feeling like I wasn't good enough and I was being critical and I lost that self-confidence, I lost my boner too.
Right. Well, no, that's exactly it.
You feel bad about yourself?
When you're in these like dark places, like that affects like all the stresses and all that. Like, because the last thing you're thinking about is
right.
You might be thinking like, oh yeah, I'm about to do it, but at the same time, you're just like in this deep place. You hate yourself, or you hate.
And if your self-esteem's low enough, then you start worrying about things, or the first time you have any issue with that, then I guarantee you the next several times you're worried that it's not going to work, and then it doesn't work because you're putting so much pressure on it.
Well, it's all that mental.
You're thinking like how stupid you look and how bad it's
well, because then you start thinking like he was just saying, like, she's thinking it's her.
Exactly.
You're not interested in me when, like I there was a time in me and my wife's relationship where it was, that came up and I was just like, it's not you. Right. I swear to God. Like,
but it doesn't matter what you're saying.
All things I want this, but it's like, I don't know what the fuck she was real cool. She was just like, no, man, get out your fucking head.
Yeah.
She's a straight shot. She's like, no, you're in your fucking head. Yeah. You need to stop thinking about that shit. Like, let's
Right.
I wish I'd had that conversation. I didn't, and I kind of just wasn't affectionate with her. And a woman's going to take that personal. I mean, how are they not? Like, if your girl just stopped being affectionate with you, you'd be like, what the fuck is the problem?
Right.
And I had never experienced something like that before, and it was I got in my head about it, and it was like, and then I was like Tom said, then you put the angst on it, and then it's like it's going to happen again, it's going to happen again and again and again.
Yep.
And I was at a point where I just felt so low about myself and not good enough that my dick wasn't working.
Right.
And I wish I would have spoke about that, but I had an honest talk after the fact and was like, hey, just so you know, like you've always done it for me, like trust me, like I wasn't you. This is what I was going through. And that was a hard ass fucking talk to have.
Right.
Hard. We were just walking and talking, and I was like, okay, by the way, and I just fucking threw it out there.
Yeah.
And now that I'm dealing with my shit, like, I mean, not to sound like a teenage boy, but now that I'm dealing with my shit, I'm starting to feel stronger mentally health-wise. Like, I'm popping boners for no reason left and right. I'm like, let's do this. Like, I feel like I got a groove back, you know?
Well,
like,
no, I get that because recently, like, now that I'm, like, in my health state, I don't know if Tom's doing it. I'm like waking up and feeling like a young boy.
You feel normal again.
Doing cock push-ups, you know, like
just one.
Hands behind my back.
You only need one. You only need one.
Have you ever heard Tenacious D?
Oh yeah.
Cock push-up?
Oh, I love.
I love.
But it was so relieving. Like, to get to that point again where I was like, oh my God, it still works, thank God. Because our biggest fear is my dick's going to stop working, let's be honest.
100%.
Well, I went through a period where I went on like the pills, right? And they oh yeah. It was, I mean, because I had to do something and I couldn't figure out all of what was, it was a lot of mental. And then it turned out, I think a lot of it was just general health too. Like everything about where I was in life was just not good. I had a ton of stress at work. I had stress in the relationship because things, you know, weren't being dealt with correctly. And I was eating like shit and drinking a lot more at that point. So between all of those factors, I mean, I was really recovering before, but in the last few months of exercising and eating right, it's like a complete 180. There's not even a problem anymore. Yeah. Whereas before it felt like there was, you know, it would work. It was fine, but it wasn't optimal.
You know? Yeah, it was there. It just, you know, he wasn't there.
I didn't have confidence in the good old guy that it was gonna.
Yeah, he was stiff, but he wasn't stiff.
Like, or again, like, you know, like, I mean, not to get graphic, but it was like, it was there, but it wasn't there.
Oh no, yeah, you get like semi-chubbies and stuff. It's not.
Yeah, it's like you're getting the half chub. It's like, you know, trying to jam a soft food into a kind of
trying to pack
where I'm going with this, like trying to like, it's like I don't even know.
I think we all know.
I've got nothing right now, but
there's guys out there know what we're talking about. It is that way where you're just like
just kind of mushed it in, like
I gotta hold the base real quick.
Somehow,
so
basically,
I gotta squeeze the end and try to like.
Yeah, you can squeeze it to get it in.
It's just like it's that drunk, like half hard bullshit ass like she's probably laying there like, oh come on with this bullshit, like
when they just stop and they're like,
and you gotta get in your head like a motherfucker at that point, but like she's probably just like, what is this bullshit, like
flicking it away like, what the fuck is this?
Your fat sweaty ass off and go to sleep.
You can't even breathe. Roll over.
Bro, like when I was at my biggest,
you go to sleep. I'm gonna hit the shower.
Right? Wow.
I'm gonna take care of myself.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna take a long shower. You get some rest.
You roll over, start your sleep apnea. I'll be back in a while.
Get that CPAP going.
Oh my god! We're talking about ED right now.
Hey, that's life. That's real shit. You know, they wouldn't advertise to 30-something-year-olds if it wasn't an issue that people are dealing with.
I mean, it's the facts of life.
American health and social emotional health is, I think, just so weak in general that it's not surprising that those issues.
I just want to know one thing. How did my phone know?
It knows.
All I want to know.
It's Google.
Also,
did you ever talk about
it? Did it? Maybe it tracks.
I never talked about it until a couple months ago.
But did you Google anything like,
right?
How do I deal with my ED? Because there was times I was dealing with like stuff like that, so I'd Google.
Yeah,
you know, like it's.
I never did, and my phone started bouncing fucking ED things off me.
It probably knows other things that people that have ED search.
I know.
I don't know.
They're like, we know what's going on with you, buddy. You can't get a boner.
Yeah, right. It's you ordered chicken nuggets. Clearly can't get a boner.
You stopped googling the porn. So what's going on, buddy?
Yeah, your porn searches went up.
It's 2:30 a.m. and there's nothing.
It's dwindling off. What's wrong? Your search history has changed quite a bit.
Right. Google knows all.
Google Martha Stewart living. I don't think you're popping one anymore.
You're not staying at work and you're not having sex very often. What's wrong with your penis?
Google is smart.
Definitely, I think I was talking to her about my situation, and she was talking about, maybe you guys have heard about this, and I can't remember exactly what she was saying, but we have there's something in our hip or our pelvis, or there's like something in that region, some kind of muscle we have, or there's something that's like connected, and it connects like our feelings and our emotions.
Hmm.
And I can't remember. I wish to God, I should Google it. Like she was talking about some kind of like, she's very like kind of naturopath, like this kind of hippity dippity, like, when it comes to that, you know, I don't know how to describe it, but she was saying there's like some kind of muscle or some kind of, there's something in that area, like in our, like when we're going through shit like that, like our hip will start to hurt and like it affects like that area. Like I don't know much. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know how to talk about it right now. I can't remember what she was saying. I was listening to her.
Yeah.
If she listens to this, I was listening to you.
Well, I mean,
can't remember.
It's a hip flexor. I don't know.
But we have something in that area, like, and when we're off, like mentally, or we're going through shit, like it affects that area.
I can see that.
I can see it, like your
nervous system all connected that way. Yeah.
Yeah, like
your blood. I mean, your blood.
Like I was having like hip issues for a while, where I was, like I said, I was running hard. I think I heard something, but I was having this like, I would wake up and I'd be like out of the bed with kind of limp, and like my hip was hurting.
Yeah.
She's like, that might be connected to that. And I was like, really?
Shit.
And that's why I'm Backpackin Boners. Like, really?
I'm gonna like look that up too.
Could be.
I don't know what you're to find anything about that, but there's there's a name for it. There's some kind of muscle there, or some kind of, there's something. I can't remember what she called it, but there's something, and I guess that's like in that area that will affect.
I can see it. Let's think about if it's a blood thing.
Well, no. So there was a time when I was dealing with this, and I thought it was because I had a hernia surgery or whatever. And I thought maybe they fucked something up. I don't know. But I was looking up exercises to improve flow, and yeah, there was like a shitload of exercise. So I started doing them. I was using those balls, those big old exercise balls to do like ab exercises, to do like certain things with my hips and stuff. So I can believe that.
Wait, the muscles are connected to stress.
I found it. I'm not trying to cut you guys off, but I'm not trying to say this word, but the muscle, I believe it's a muscle, is called, this is how it's spelled, because I can't say it. PSOAS.
Posis?
It plays a role in male sexual health.
PSOAS?
PSOAS.
PSOAS.
ESOAS?
No.
P as in
Paul. Oh, okay.
He said
Paul.
P. S
as in sex.
O as in orgasm.
O as in orgasm. A is an asshole. And S again for some more sex. I don't know.
Okay.
PSOAS.
Psoas muscle. I think it'd just be psoas. Psoas muscle. Okay.
I think she said like psoas or psoas. It was like how it was pronounced. Like it doesn't make any sense how it's spelled.
My psoas hurts.
But it's like so I googled it and it says, "Hey guys, release your psoas for better sex." And it's like a stretch they show you to do.
Oh.
So let me go back and let's see. I said, how did I say it was spelled? PSO. Okay, PSO. Okay, I'm gonna just go Google. If it's psoas, which I swear it was some weird shit like that. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but we're gonna say psoas because it sounds kind of funny anyway.
Okay.
The psoas muscle is located in the lower lumbar region of the spine and extends throughout the pelvis to the femur. This muscle works by flexing the hip joint and lifting the upper leg towards the body. A common example of the movement created from this muscle is walking.
Is walking? That's the...
Yeah.
It's the muscle.
It's like your lower back, bro. It looks like your...
Are you guys looking at it?
Yeah, I just
pulled it up.
I pulled it up. It looks like your lower back region almost. Fuck, my lower back be hurting too.
Okay.
My lower back be hurting too, Jesse.
Shit, I'm old. I think I'm
feeling
old.
Great.
Well, fuck you, Tom.
Yeah. Your 30s.
It's hurt in the past.
It's because you're in your 30s, so screw you, man.
Wait till you're in your 40s, man.
Yeah, you're gonna wake up on your birthday, 40th birthday, and be like, "Oh my fucking my lower back."
My 36th birthday.
But apparently, I guess your mental health can be connected to this muscle. I don't know how she described it, but this is definitely what she was talking about. I remember it was a weird.
If it's in that spine region, like in that area, I could see that.
Well, think about how many tension headaches and things you can get from just having tense anxiety.
Right.
And that affects your muscles. Yeah. That could be a muscle that gets affected, and then that could cause blood flow issues and a whole bunch of.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a boner is. It's, blood flow. Like, if you're not getting the right blood flow to your dick, you're not going to get a boner.
Yeah. Well, my high blood pressure, I think, was causing...
Oh, mine some too, as I learned I had.
I learned I have high blood pressure as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I must run in the Guy family.
Yeah. Well, eating like shit.
Drinking.
I mean, definitely. I mean, that's all how you eat.
Yeah.
It's mental health is based on physical health as well. Let's be honest.
They're interconnected, for sure. I mean, a lot of what gets us in trouble is our mental health, and then we do physical things to compensate or to deal with it. So
well, it's just like for example, my ex has some really big food allergies, and potatoes. She can't have potatoes, right? Oh. She can have French fries. She can't have any form of potato, which makes me sad for her life because she's missing out on good shit. But if she eats potatoes, the way she describes it is, she's like a bratty little kid who wants to pull someone's hair. Like it literally affects the way she acts. She'll have terrible nightmare dreams, and like she's like, if I have potatoes, I will become a fucking raging bitch monster.
Wow. So
that right there shows you how your food is related to your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
For sure.
If I eat a potato, I might punch you in the face. Like, what?
It wasn't me. It was the potato.
Or throw it at you. One of the two.
Yeah.
I'm like, this sounds like a fucking excuse to me. It's not my fault. If I had French fries with it, it's not my fault.
Prove it.
Why do I love these French fries? Get the fuck out of here.
I do love me some French fries.
Why doesn't your dick work anymore?
Come here, I want to rip it off.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like everything's connected
for sure.
And that's another thing. Like I've been trying to be more open about, like for all of her ideas. Like she's very, like I said, kind of hippity dippity, and like into like her daughter does like tarot card readings forward. She takes that shit to heart. Like she's. She takes notes on that shit. Like, she's like, I don't live my life by it. Like, if they told me not to go to work tomorrow, I would still go to work tomorrow.
Right.
But, like, she's very, like I said, she's very, like
granola,
just, I don't know how to describe it, whatever. I just always say hippity-dippity.
Yeah.
And I've always been like, oh, whatever, that's stupid, and that's not hard facts, and that's, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to be more open to that kind of shit, too. Sure. And I do research on it, and I look at things, and I'm like, oh, yeah, like, okay, maybe that's not bullshit.
Well, some of it, I mean, if it doesn't hurt anything, then is it worse than what you're doing before? We know cheeseburgers kills us, but we still eat those things. Like,
well, I mean, I don't know. I think, like, people who, not that just do tarot cards, but like Wiccan, like that stuff, like, I don't know, it's very... It's kind of like the more I've looked into stuff like that, it's like, I mean, they're very spiritual, and some of the stuff it says, it's pretty like crazy.
It's just not
how some of it's kind of spot on with some of the stuff. Like if they go off like zodiacs and that shit, you're like, that's not true. And then I start reading and I'm like, oh, that's kind of like me. Maybe there's a little truth to it.
Yeah.
My moon, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't always have to be perfectly scientific. Yeah. There are some things, like, I mean, if you have cancer, I think I'd listen to cancer doctors.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm trying to, not to cut in here, I'm trying to figure out why one of my headphones stopped working.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to try that here. Give me a second. I'm going to disconnect
40 minutes in. We should probably...
disconnect my earbuds and try
You know what? We're probably going to have to call it quits anyway. We're just about to... We're over an hour and a half. Which...
Oh, hold on. I'm going to put you on speaker.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, it kind of cut out there for a sec. But I think that was just the phone connection. Yeah. It did that once before.
Okay. Well, yeah, they probably should kind of just been... I'm very long-winded. Like, I'll do this, do this all day.
Oh, no, me and Tom...
We have to watch, too.
Yeah, we've had 3-hour convos on here before.
Yeah, so. I think our longest is almost 4. That was a little too much.
We were drunk, too,
I don't think anybody got... Yeah, by the end of it, we were slurring and throwing shit against the wall.
Fuck this!
Oh, great.
Oh, I think he just called. You can answer it?
Are you there?
So I think the phone cut out there.
Yeah, totally hung up on me.
I thought he hung up on us. Like, all right, guys, see ya. Boom, you're done.
Well, that said, thank you for coming on today,
thank you.
Brian.
We're gonna have to have you on.
It was awesome. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on again for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
No, anytime you guys want to do this, man. Like I said, ask Tom. I'm long-winded, dude. I'll talk.
Awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I mean, and like I said before, talking, like doing what we're doing, man. That helps everybody. You know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
You got to have real shit.
I mean, I appreciate you coming on too and just telling your like the shit you're dealing with. You know, I think 100%.
That's part of the journey. Is being open and
that's why I think this show is very therapeutic.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just bullshitting, but Usually we come around to something.
Well, that's how it starts. I mean, we started talking about backpacking and shit and getting eaten by bears and whatever, and then spins into something else. That's how conversations work.
You ever got eaten by a bear and dealt with mental health at the same time?
All right, guys. Well, you guys enjoy your day, and like I said, anytime you guys want to do this, man, just hit me up, Tom, and if you guys want to do it again, we could do it again, and
we'll definitely do it again.
Maybe I could get my ass out there at some point too, and actually come on the show with you guys.
Cool. Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good.
We can go backpack.
Yeah, we could.
That'd be sweet.
We can take the trailer out, load all this stuff.
Which one?
Yeah, seriously.
I got an old one though. But anyway,
go get a bottle of whiskey and go out in the woods and drink a little bit of bullshit.
There we go.
Down our chest and talk about boners.
We can regress a little bit. All right,
Jameson and boners.
And on that note,
all right.
Thanks for tuning in,
fabulous day. And, I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right,
all right. See you later.
Bye. Take it easy.
Bye. Did it already stop?
Did it?
Yeah, I think.
Wait, no, it didn't. It's still going. There you go.
That was weird. It wouldn't do anything. It went gray.
Now it stopped.
I think it's
just
the internet's fucking slow. Usually